The experience that I'm about to describe to you was the most heartbreaking experience I have ever had in my life. I'm going to share with you something that's actually very personal for me, and I've been kind of putting this off for a while because it is something that was very emotional and very important to me. I've been getting a lot of people asking me to describe my experiences with DMT. And I'm going to share this with you now. Just keep in mind that this was an extremely emotional experience. I had someone assisting me during this. I took one very large hit and exhaled after holding it in for a moment. Then exhaled, I started coughing because it's very harsh on the lungs. And in just a few seconds, I was going to reach for a glass of water, but then it hit me immediately and I began to fall back. And the person who was helping me said, no, you need to take another hit. And I said, no, I don't. And she said, yes, you do, take another hit. And I said, no, I don't. And the reason why I was so adamant that I didn't need to take another hit was because I was so far gone at that point. And remember, it had just been a few seconds. Immediately, all definitions vanished. And not only would I not have been able to take another hit physically, but I wasn't even able to conceptualize what it meant to take a hit. For those of you who aren't familiar, DMT incapacitates you. It renders you unable to move. So I laid back with my eyes shut and I find myself at the end of time. And this is where I have the most heartbreaking experience of my life. I find myself in a total void. There is nothing. There is no physical existence whatsoever. There is no space. There is no time. And there is nothing but me. There is only one entity in all of existence, and that is just me, single and alone. Now within this black, dark void, I want you to imagine a single black cube within this void. A single cube that is a room. I then find myself inside of this room, and this room is filled with a neon magenta light. There isn't anything inside of the room, and it's not a very large room at all. It's quite small. There aren't any features of any kind whatsoever, just a perfect cubicle room filled with magenta light. And directly in front of me is another being. Now, please keep in mind how incredibly difficult this is to describe, but this other being was myself. They had split off from me. And not only was this being split from me, but it was my complete and total opposite. Now, I want to say that it was a she, but this was completely beyond gender. I'm just trying to use some kind of words to describe this. So this she was me, my opposite, and my perfect match. So this other being was completely black and featureless. No eyes, no mouth, just an inky black shadowy figure. I knew that that is exactly what I looked like as well. The point about all this was that it was the bare minimum necessary to be able to have any experience whatsoever. For example, we needed a room to be able to experience distance and location. There needed to be an other in order to have a communication. This other was the perfect partner, and we shared a perfect love, the deepest love, an indescribable love. It was literally a piece of me split off. So this was the end of time. All contradictions had been resolved. All differences had been put away. It was absolute perfection where everything came together into one being. And we shared this deep love and this deep connection that's indescribable. But this was, again, the end of time, and there was nothing left to do. because we had done it all. We had experienced everything. We had experienced the infinite joys, the infinite sorrows, the infinite ups and downs, the tears, the laughter, the wars, the killings, the happiness, the joys, everything. Everything beautiful, everything horrible. We had experienced it all. All that was possible to experience had been done, and we were now at the end of time. There was nothing left but just us. But there was nothing left to do. So here we were, together, in this room. And what we did was we made an agreement with each other that we would forget and we would shatter ourselves to create the universe, so that we could once again throw ourselves into existence, so that we could come to know each other once again. We made this decision, and I can't tell you how heartbreaking this decision was to make, because we knew that it must be done. And so we agreed in that room to begin this process of forgetting and fracturing. And I felt it, and it began slowly as I began to forget. And that reality in that room, it began to flicker as the process began to happen. And I began to have a sense of panic. I was starting to forget the decision that we made. I began to run from the different sides of the room. And I started to say, I love you. I love you. And I was screaming, I love you. And again, back in physical reality, I was saying this out loud over and over again. I love you. I love you. And I began to run from the different sides of the room. And the geometry was very, very strange there, because I would get to one side and I would sort of be transported back to another side. And then I would sort of run to this other, but I was in the process of forgetting. So it was extremely confusing to go to this creature that I knew that I loved, but was also me. And since I was forgetting, that was extremely confusing, because I knew that I was losing something that I loved and I wanted to hold on to, but I was losing my grip on it. And all I could do was shout, I love you. And then I started to shout, be there for me. And I knew that she didn't say it in so many words, but I knew that she would always be there for me. And then it all fell away, and I got thrown into existence. And I went through lifetime after lifetime, and every single partner that I met, she was a part of. Every single partner that I met was a fractured piece of her and a portion of her. And I went through lifetime after lifetime, and not only was she in the partners that I was with, but she was in everything. She was in the song of the birds outside. She was in the gust of wind and the air and the leaves, and within everything. And even now, just thinking about it is heartbreaking, to know that that kind of love exists and to have lost it. But I also know that it is something that we will collectively experience together. We will experience that perfect love, all of us, together at the end. We have all had that experience. We have all gone through this. We just forgot. But one day we will remember again. I know that so many can relate to this, because this moment is all embedded within the unconscious of each and every one of us. The DMT experience is actually 3 parts, and I only described one of those parts in this video. So if you want to see the other 2 parts, check out this video here. And if you also want to know what this experience meant with regard to the nature of reality, check out this video. Subscribe to my channel to be notified of new videos, and if you enjoy my work, become a supporter on Patreon so I can continue to create. A shout out to all those who are supporting on Patreon. You guys are awesome. My name is Morgue, and I am Hyperion. Hail New Terra.